Hi everybody, this is your weekly podcast coming to you from the Lake Erie Regional Grape Program. I'm Jennifer Russo, the Viticulture Extension Specialist for Cornell Extension. I want to talk about some of the late season cultural practices that you should be looking to do in your vineyards as we gear ready for harvest. So you don't need many things to go out and do these. What you need are your collection utensils, your hands. You need a paper bag for your tissue samples if you're going to do petioles or leaf blades if you're diagnosing a nutrient deficiency. And you're going to need a Ziploc bag for what we're going to collect for Brix sampling. And just so you know, there are already some really good videos out there done by some people that I work with, Hans Walter Peterson in the Finger Lakes program and Dr. Terry Bates here in research at Clairol, which is a Cornell Lake Erie Research and Extension Laboratory here in Portland, New York. So another one of our viticultural practices that we do at this time of year is the late season or late summer petiole samples or tissue samples. Some people like to prefer leaf blades to petiole samples. However, at this current point in the research, there is more research out there on petioles. So if you're looking for a reference guide as to what you have, it's better to do petioles for us. There is more research happening in leaf blades, but leaf blades seem to be more useful when you're diagnosing a nutrient deficiency, and right now we just kind of want to see what has the plant taken up as to what we put on due to our soil sampling that we took earlier on in the growing season. So for today's purposes, we're just going to show you quickly how to do the petiole samples. I'm not going to break down as to how many you need or where you take them. I just want to tell you you're going to need a paper bag, which is extremely important. Don't use plastic, because what happens is in the drying process, if you put it in plastic, there's still some live material in there and they tend to decompose or mold, and that can throw off your results. So paper is the best for all of your tissue samples. We have labeled bags that we use. When you go out and you're going to collect your Brix samples, also take your petiole samples. So you need a plastic bag for your Brix and a paper bag for your petioles. You're going to take it down to the chute, twist the leaf off in your bag, dry it 200 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes, and then you'll ship them off. Don't ship them hot. So there's also variation on how many you need. Here at the lab, we suggest taking 100 petiole samples. But again, there are other videos out there to tell you what you have. We want you to get another representation of the variation in your vineyard and how well they're taking their nutrients. So we do 100 berry samples, we do 100 petiole samples. We keep our numbers easy for research. I should state that today is September 3rd, 2019, and it is a beautiful sunny day out here today. Just heading into, we've had Veraison and everybody's getting ready for harvest, and some varieties have already gone in and some of the viniferas. But today we're going to talk a little bit about Concord and what you should be doing in your vineyards as you're ready for harvest to test your Brix. Now, when you're testing your Brix, you want to get a good representative sample of the block that you're working in. I know that some growers in the past have told me they just go up and they either grab a berry and squeeze it on the refractometer, or they just grab a cluster and crush that in a bag, but that's really not giving you the variation that's in your block. So what we do here at Clairol is we take our Ziploc bag. We like 100 berry count samples. And when you do that, it's sort of random yet stratified through our vineyard as we walk through. If you do happen to have maps, because we've been pushing all of our precision viticulture here, and you have NDVI maps that tell you where you have high management, like high healthy vines as opposed to the weaker ones, I would go to certain spots that tells you in those management zones and collect berries from each of those spots till you get your 100 berry sample. If you don't have those spots, the maps that we do here as that part of that program for the efficient vineyard, then I would suggest walking panels. You know the variation in your vineyard. Everybody knows where your vines are weaker, where they may be stronger, and you need to get a good representation of what your Brix are at that point in time. So go through to those certain samples and take 100 berries total from different management zones. The way we do that here is it's also taken from the top, the middle, and the bottom of the canopy. but not just varying where it's located in the canopy. You also want to vary where it's located on the cluster itself. When I go through and do it, I usually take 2 berries at a time. It's just easier for me to do that with my fingers. Lift up the canopy. I'll grab 2 from the bottom, move over a little bit, grab 2 from the middle of the cluster, even a little bit further, and 2 from the top of the cluster at the bottom. However you do it, it's up to you, but make sure that you're grabbing that variation. Sometimes I get it from the east side of the vine as opposed to the left or the north or the south, depending on how your rows are oriented. But please make sure that you grab all of that variation. Don't pick the best berries either. You don't even really kind of want to look. You just want to reach in and grab. Sometimes we tend to pick the ones that are gonna be the largest and the prettiest and the most purple if you're working in Concords. But that's not a true representative sample. You want to be careful when you're doing it to get some of the pedicels and the rachis out of there, because you don't want to be poking holes in your bag, your collection sample. So there's my 100 berry sample that I'm representative of my block. Then now, here's the best part. Sometimes you're a little angry, take your frustrations out. You really want to make sure that if you have some of the green berries in there, that you get those to pop. You don't want any berries left over in there. And I know it seems like it's a long process as opposed to just squeezing 1 berry on your refractometer, but this truly will give you a good representation of what your Brix are at this point during the growing season. So all you need now is the refractometer. We've got our liquid in there, smushed up all the berries. There aren't any left that are, oops, sorry, 1 green one. Make sure you get that one. And we're gonna go inside. If you have the refractometer that you can have out in your vineyard, then you're just gonna either poke a hole here and drip it on, or open it up and drip it on and take your reading. So we're in the lab, and now we're taking our juice sample that we squeezed out in the vineyards, pouring it on our refractometer here. Taking a reading.
10-9.
And recording it for that vineyard block. Now, many of you have more than 1 vineyard block, so between each sample that you read, you need to rinse it off so that you don't contaminate or blend your samples and you get a true reading of each sample. Please leave a comment or questions in the comment section below, and have a great day. Thanks.